Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to Becoming Cleo. I am so excited that you're here. Today I want to talk about creating an intentional life and the 7 different habits that I'm using to not only create an intentional life, but also to change my life. So some of you listening to this have probably heard the term intentional living or the phrase create an intentional life. And for those of you that haven't, let's talk a little bit more about it. So I think that creating an intentional life can mean a lot of different things to different people. So I'll speak to what it means to me. To me, creating an intentional life is all about being mindful and being very intentional about how I spend my time, about the words that I use to describe myself, to talk about myself, to talk about my passions and my vision for my life. It also means doing things with intention and with purpose and not doing things just because. Now, I'm not saying that there's something wrong with doing something just because, but for me, I just want to make sure that I am moving with intention, also about getting to the why of things. So I don't just want to do things just because, or do things just because I see other people doing them, or doing things just because I feel like it's something that I should do, but instead asking myself, why do I want to do this thing? Why do I want to pursue this thing? Why do I want to spend money on this? Really just taking the time to have a careful thought about what it is that you choose to do with your life. So really, it's just being intentional about those things. It's not to say that I can't just do things just to do them, because I think that's another fun and important part of life. But when it comes to making really crucial and important decisions, I just want to make sure that I am being intentional with them, taking my time and making sure that they are things that align to the lifestyle that I want to live and things that align to my core values. So intentional living can mean a lot of different things to other people. If you watch someone else's video, you may hear a different answer, or you yourself may be watching this and have a different answer for how creating an intentional life looks for you. But for the purpose of this video, I'm going to be talking about it as it relates to me. I just want to talk a little bit about how this all started. So about 6 months ago, I decided that I wanted to be more intentional with my life. I felt like for a very long time that I was doing things that I should do, doing things that I see other people doing, and not necessarily doing things that are going to be aligned with me or things that I feel relate to my purpose. So I felt like I was kind of just moving through life and going with the flow, and I was okay with that. I found myself sort of journaling and asking and praying about the same things over and over again. And I realized that I had to make a change and I had to be more intentional about how I decided to spend my time and how I decided to speak over myself and how I decided to speak about myself if I wanted these things to happen. So I decided that I was going to create a more intentional life. And even though I said that, it took me a really long time to back that up with action, and it took me a really long time to actually start creating an intentional life. It wasn't until I sat down and was like, okay, what are the things that we're going to do in order to make our life more intentional? What are the habits that we're going to form? What are we going to create to make this happen for us? What are the habits that we're going to make what are the habits that we're going to create to allow us to live a more intentional life? I think it's so easy to say, yeah, I'm going to be more intentional with my life and I want to do these things. And for some people, they may mean it on the first time. But for me, it took me a while to really sit down and to figure out what exactly an intentional life looks like for me. So on top of that, I also decided that I wanted to change my life. There is a certain lifestyle that I want to live. There are certain things that I want to do with my life, a vision for my life. And I know that in order for this to happen, I have to become someone new. I have to embody the person that is going to be doing all these new things. On top of that, I also decided that I wanted to change my life. So there is a certain lifestyle that I want to live. There are certain things that I want to do with my life. There is a vision that I have for my life. And I found that I need to become someone new in order for this vision to manifest or to become my reality. And I don't mean, when I say become someone new, I don't mean change who I am. When I say change who I am, what I mean is I need to embody this person that's already living my ideal life. Now, I'm not sure if y'all are following me, but essentially I need to become her. Become the person that's living my dream life. I need to think about what she's already doing, do the things she's doing, and then act as if it already is, because it shall be. I don't dream of being super busy throughout my day. Instead, I just want to be able to live my life exactly how I see fit and live my life exactly as I desire it. So I want time, freedom and financial freedom and flexibility in order to live this dream life. So I want to live my life exactly as how I see fit. And that means live my life from sunrise to sunset, to be able to create my life each and every single day. So if there's something that I want to do this day, I want to be able to have freedom to do that. If there's something different that I want to do the next day, I want to be able to have freedom to do that. I want the freedom to be able to choose my life and choose each day and what it looks like. I also want flexibility. Travel when I want, to visit family when I want, to go to a concert whenever I want. I want the flexibility. I also want financial freedom. So that means I want to have streams of income. I want financial freedom. I want to be able to not have any strains or stressors because of money. I just want to live life on my own terms. So essentially what I want to do is I just want to be me. And when thinking about creating an intentional life or trying to manifest your dream life, don't just think about what you want your life to look like, but also think about what you want your life to look like. What are some adjectives that you would use to describe your life? Do you want to have a life of joy? Do you want to have a life of peace, happiness? Like, how do you want your life to feel? Do you want to feel at ease? I think one, it's important to be able to know what you want your life to look like so you can visualize that. But two, you want it to know what you want it to feel like so you can feel those feelings while visualizing your life. It's important to make sure that how you want your life to look, you also have a feeling attached as to how you want it to feel. That way the two can be in alignment with each other. Now, so I've decided if I am going to create a more intentional life, and if I am going to change my life, then I'm going to have to start doing some things differently. Because as I mentioned earlier in the video, there are a few things that I have been wanting for, desiring for so many different years, and they have not happened. Whether that be because divine timing and it's not my time yet, or if it's because some of the habits that I have aren't necessarily helping me to create this dream reality or helping me to create the life that I want to live. So with these new habits, they have really helped me to be more intentional and aware about how I spend my time, but also more intentional about the words that I use to speak about myself and to speak over my life. I've only been implementing these habits into my life for about maybe 2 or so months, but honestly I can already see a difference because I'm intentional about the habits that I want to create, and these habits are helping me to be more intentional with my life. So I'm going to tell you the 7 different habits that I have implemented into my life to not only create an intentional life, but also to help change my life. The very first habit that I'm implementing is limiting my phone usage, especially in the mornings. So I know a lot of people can relate to when you wake up in the morning, you grab your phone, you check your texts, you check your missed calls, your Instagrams, your Facebooks, whatever it may be. Your phone for a lot of people can be the very first thing that you see in the morning, and you can just automatically find yourself scrolling on social media. So for me, I've decided to not touch my phone in the mornings until 1, after 9 o'clock, but 2, after I've done my spiritual routine. So I do check my messages and respond to people, mainly because I live on the West Coast and a lot of my family lives on the East Coast, and so the time difference, I am probably 3 hours behind anyway responding back to their messages. So I will check my messages and respond, but I will not open any social media app until I've done my spiritual routine, or until after 9 o'clock. Now I picked 9 o'clock for me because I wake up at 6 o'clock for my day job, and so I figure between 6 to 9 I'll probably have already done my spiritual routine. Also, I've had 3 hours to do other things that don't involve scrolling on social media. So this has helped me be more intentional because now I'm more mindful of how I spend my time. Sometimes I can get caught up, especially on TikTok, scrolling endlessly, scrolling mindlessly, and consuming so much content without even taking a break or without even giving my eyes a chance to rest. Also being more intentional about the content that I consume first thing in the morning when I open my eyes. I've also limited my phone usage at night. an hour before I go to bed, I will try to stay off social media. Now, it's a lot harder in the night because in the nighttime, I'm usually watching TV, or maybe I'm usually watching TV or scrolling on social media. So in the night, I try to do an hour before bed, no social media. That one is really hard to do, and that's something that I'm still working on. But I know that once I do that, it'll help me because I won't be scrolling aimlessly on social media, and that'd be the last thing that I consume before bed. The second habit that I'm implementing into my life that I've actually have been doing for a very long time is my spiritual routine. So I like to do a lot of different practices throughout my mornings, mainly because they help me to clear my mind, to feel centered, but also they just really help me to stay grounded throughout my day. So I always start my mornings off with journaling. This is my journal here, and what I do is I write in this journal 3 pages every single day, and it really is just a stream of thoughts, a stream of consciousness to really get off anything that comes to mind. I don't sit down with the particular topic of what I'm going to write about. I just really allow the thoughts to flow, and whatever comes out comes out. Found for me that journaling helps me process things best, but also journaling is the #1 way that I love to get my thoughts out and to clear my mind. So I always start off with my journal. I write 3 pages, but if it's really bad and I'm going through it, I'll just write into my heart's content. So that's the very first thing that I do with my spiritual routine. Always journaling, because I want to make sure that everything else that I do with a clear mind. The second thing that I do is I have a gratitude and affirmation journal here. So this is a grid notebook. And so half of the page is going to be dedicated to my gratitude list. That's just things I'm grateful for. I always make sure to write down that I'm thankful for life. I still write it down because it really helps me to remember the things that I already have and that I am not without. On the second half of this page, I will write down affirmations. The affirmations are really just whatever comes to mind. If there's something that I'm struggling with, particularly that day or that week, I'll make sure to write down an affirmation that kind of helps me to recite it throughout the day, and an affirmation to just recite it throughout the day, or an affirmation just to keep in mind throughout my day. The third thing that I do is I meditate for 5 to 20 minutes a day. So I say 5 minutes because some days my attention span really isn't there, but 20 minutes because sometimes it is. So I'll either do a guided meditation where I'm listening to someone guide me through the meditation, or I will do a deep breathing meditation, or lastly, I'll just do meditation music. Whatever it is, I decide on how I feel that day. I do my meditation, and I always use Insight Timer because #1, that has some really amazing guided meditations on there, but 2, it also tracks how many days you meditate. So if you're trying to build up a habit, you can use Insight Timer to help you actually track the different days that you meditate. And then they also have a really cool feature that allows you to track your mood too. So you can kind of see where you start off with your meditation versus where you may end up with your meditation. Third habit that I'm implementing is daily walks. Unplugged walks outside. So for me, it's super helpful because I have a dog, so you have to walk your dog every single day. So that's a great way to just get out the house in the first place. If you have a dog, don't have a dog, and if you're able to, you can still take walks. And I typically try to walk about an hour every single day, if not more. And if you want to look at it in terms of steps, I've decided that 8,000 to 10,000 steps is a good range for me. Fourth habit that I'm implementing that has been a bit of a struggle for me to actually continue to implement into my life is reading every single day. So I always have a goal every single year to read 1 to 2 books a month. We're currently in March, and I'm about halfway through my first book. I love books, I love collecting books, but sometimes my attention span really isn't there to read. And so I've really been trying to get into audiobooks to help me. That way I can, maybe walk and listen to an audiobook, or sit down and listen to an audiobook rather than just having to physically read a book. So if it's 2 books a month, a self-help book and a fiction book, but if it's 1 book a month, it really just depends on what book that I want to read that month. And when I am actually doing the daily reading, I read about 30 minutes or at least 1 chapter in the morning after I finish my spiritual routine, and then I'll read another 30 minutes or 1 chapter at night before bed. The habit that I'm implementing is creating time to do things that I am passionate about, that I don't want to lead to profit. So a good example of this is I am really into herbalism right now. I have a bunch of different herbs in my kitchen where I'm using them to make tea. And so I've been spending a lot of my free time learning about herbs and how to prepare herbs and which herb is good for what. So I've just been right now focusing my time on herbalism. And another hobby or passion that I have is gardening. I have a planter on my patio, and once daylight saving time comes around, I do plan to start up my garden. I have the seeds already, and that's another passion thing that I want to do that's not related to any type of profit. So I'll be gardening, really just growing the fruits and vegetables that I love. And then another example is sometimes I like to paint. I really just like a lot of abstract painting. I'm not really like a painter per se, but I will just paint every now and again and really just allow myself to have fun with it, to have like a childlike mind when it comes to doing it. So not really worried about what it looks like or how it'll come out, really just having fun with painting. So I think it's super important to make sure you have time to do the things that you're passionate about that you don't want to lead to profit. So the next habit that I am implementing is being intentional about my healing. And for me, that looks like going to therapy. Therapy. I started therapy in 2020 and I did therapy for 6 months, and I haven't been back to therapy yet, or I found a therapist but things didn't work out with her with my insurance. And so once my insurance gets sorted out, I do plan to go back to therapy. I highly recommend therapy. For those of you who can do therapy, who have access to it and who are able to, I highly recommend it. Talk to a person that's unbiased, who literally is trained and has a profession to help you and to help you deal with the issues that you're having. But two, to address those deeply rooted issues that may be preventing you from moving forward in your life. 3, addressing childhood trauma. Therapy can help you in a lot of different ways, and something doesn't always have to be wrong for you to go to therapy. You can also go to therapy to better yourself. You can go to therapy to get understanding, to become a better you. There's a lot of reasons you can get therapy. For me personally, therapy is to better myself, to work on my closest relationships, and also to heal from childhood trauma. And the 7th habit that I'm implementing into my life, I don't know if this one's a habit either, but it's really just creating the habit of being open to possibilities. So I am someone who never wants to limit myself. I don't say that I can just do one thing. I want to do a lot of different things, some that are related to each other and some that aren't related to each other. But I always just say be open to the possibilities. You never know where your life can take you, and you never know what you'll end up doing, who you'll end up meeting, where you'll end up living. So I just say continue to be open to the possibilities that life can offer you, because right now we may be limited to what we know, but our worlds can continue to expand, and as we evolve, we'll learn more, we'll have more information, and you can literally live a life that you never thought that you would live. So don't limit yourself to what you think your life should be, what it should look like, or what you should be doing. Just be open. Allow life to do its thing. Another bonus tip and habit that I have recently started implementing into my routine is to start stretching. So I just started stretching again yesterday in the morning and the night, and it's been helping me. I have really tight hip flexors, and I work out and I lift weights and I go hiking, and so sometimes my muscles are also tight. So I found a YouTube video and I just started doing that for 10 to 15 minutes a day. I'll just start stretching, and I found that it helps me to feel more looser, like less tight or as restricted as I did before I started stretching. I'll feel looser and more flexible, but also stretching makes you feel really relaxed. And it's wild the difference that you can see how you feel before stretching and after you stretch. Like you'll literally just feel so relaxed. It'll make you wonder, was I ever even really relaxed when I was relaxed? So stretching is my bonus tip. Those were the 7 different habits with the bonus that I have decided to implement into my routine to not only, 1, create an intentional life, but also to change my life. So far, these habits have really helped me to be more intentional with how I'm spending my time, with how I'm choosing to speak over myself, but also the core values that I have and how I want to continue to use those values to create an intentional life. So if you're someone who wants to be more intentional with your life, with your time, with your finances, I hope this was helpful to you. If you have any questions or if you would like to see another part 2 of this video, let me know below. I'd be happy to answer them. But until then, thank you for watching, and be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.